When I was a child, this is just to explain how illusionary Prakriti is. When I was a child, my mother took me out for a walk one day. And when you're walking around in the woods near us, not very far, I used to see all sorts of insects and animals. On this one day, we saw lots of ants collecting little soil and making little balls of them and pushing them along into their homes. And sometimes the balls are much bigger than the ants. And finally, what the ants does, it keeps pushing it and pushing it towards its home. And finally, it puts it into the hole to make its house. My mother said, wouldn't it be nice to take one of these beautiful gifts for Dad when he comes home? And I love the shape of this ball. They're beautiful. So I tried to pick one up, but as soon as I picked it up, it broke in my hands. Because they're so fragile. I would have needed the hands like the ants to carry it. But my hands were too crumbly, although I suppose my hands were too robust. So what happened was that my mother said, why don't you use a leaf? So I got a leaf, a small one, but it didn't work. So I had to get a big leaf. And I remember putting it on these big leaves, couple of them, not just one. And I picked them up gently and took them home, put them in the side of a room. My dad arrived that night and my mother said, go and get your gift for Dad. Because children love to give gifts to their dad. So when I got there, I was so excited. But as soon as I arrived at the leaf, I saw on the leaf that there wasn't any more balls there. All there was little mounds of earth. And the saliva which the ants had used to bind the soil together had dehydrated and it crumbled back into a little pile of mud. So I brought it back and I showed it to my dad and I said, Dad, this is a gift for you. He said, oh, a pile of dust. And my mother looked at it and she kind of saw that there was a great disappointment in my eyes. But she wasn't going to allow that disappointment to go by for nothing. So my dad knew something had happened. So what my mother did afterwards, which was very beautiful, was that she kind of said to me, she says, have you noticed how everything that has a form and a shape disintegrates? She said, learn that. Prakriti changes all the time. It's illusionary. It holds its different shapes only for a while, and while you get attached to the shape, it changes it. Then it puts you in a cycle of sorrow and pain. But not only that, she picked up this dust that we had on a leaf. She put it in a small piece of white cloth, took it under a water tap, turned the tap on, and let the water go through it. And when the water had gone through this cloth, she opened the cloth, and all the soil dust had gone through, and there was nothing in the cloth. And she said, see, it's just an illusion. That is what Prakriti is like. Everything changes. To be attached to things that changes is a pure suicide for a human being who's looking for freedom.